Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. Now, yesterday I was just watching, I suppose you would call it terrestrial TV. It's been a long time since I've actually watched it. Being someone who spends a lot of time on the BBC iPlayer, or sometimes on Netflix, or sometimes on Amazon Prime, those are the only three kind of platforms that I kind of jump around on to watch any content. And sometimes when you actually go back to terrestrial TV, it sometimes is a bit of a kind of a rude awakening when you realise, how far we've moved away from that. When you have to watch a show and it's getting good and then all of a sudden it pauses and then it's straight into an ad break and then you're probably waiting around for 5 minutes on the ads to end to get back into the story to see what happened next. And even yesterday, it was a surprise to me. As I said, it's been a long time since I'd watched TV, normal TV. And the fact that there actually was a Christmas ad came on yesterday, it was for one of the shopping chains in the UK. It was a little carrot kind of getting ready for Christmas time. And it kind of was a bit of a kind of wake-up call for me because, between the coronavirus and between kind of hanging out on these platforms like, Netflix and all that, you do sometimes lose track of the kind of time of the year. At the moment, the way we are with the coronavirus and everything, it's a lot of kind of Groundhog Day, You're getting up, you're doing your work, and you're probably working from home, so you're not even leaving your house. So it just seems to be that you are kind of like a hamster on a wheel. You're getting onto the wheel, you're running on it all day, and then you get off, and then you're up the next day, and you're back on the hamster wheel. And it does feel like that at the moment, especially for those of us who are working at home and maybe have the kids at home and everything. We just kind of feels like we are in this Groundhog Day. But it's probably that probably movie title has probably been overused now at this stage. But as I said, when I was watching TV and I seen that Christmas ad, I just said to myself, Jesus, it's Christmas. Christmas is not too far away. It seems so long since we've actually been locked down, especially over here in Ireland and the UK and that. And the fact that Christmas is only around the corner, I completely forgot about it. I can already see some people who have their Christmas trees up and some of their Christmas lights. I suppose it's probably a way to maybe bring a little bit of joy into their lives, or maybe a little bit of brightness with those flashing lights. But, when I seen that ad, it just kind of was a bit of a slap around to my face, realising that we're coming up to the end of the year. There's so many things have got our attention on the news feeds, and between, the coronavirus and then elections in the US and all that, we've all kind of been led off in that we've all been head off in that direction, and we haven't actually been focused on the time of year. But when I was just watching those Christmas ads, I was just thinking to myself, that year has gone quick. What have I achieved in this year? Now, unfortunately, I probably had plans like everybody else. I was going to do this, we were going to go on holiday here, or we were going to, all these different plans we had. And unfortunately, with the coronavirus, all those have been pushed on the kind of the back foot. And who knows, maybe it might be next year before we get blow the dust off those plans and actually take action on them. Or who knows, it might even be longer than that, So I just want you to think, like I said yesterday, I'd ask you to look backwards from where you are, but I want you to look backwards in your business. I want you to look backwards maybe to January. If you had a time machine and you could go back to January and you knew what was happening ahead, you knew in March time or whatever, that we're going to go into lockdown, or that we're going to be working from home, or that you're going to have some restrictions on your business or your life or whatever, what would you have put into place if you did know that? From where you are right now, with all the knowledge you have, if you had gone back, what would you have done different? What have you done? Would you just have started collecting email addresses? Would you have maybe paid more attention to maybe social media and put content out there, or showed up there more regularly to let your audience know that, even things are bad, that you are still around? Would you have done more podcast episodes, or would you have done anything like that? Or would you, like some people have, just kind of curled up in a ball and are just sitting in front of Netflix and just hoping it all blows over? And then when it does, then they're going to open the shutters and reopen their businesses. So give that some thought today. If you had the time machine, what would you have done? Or even, think back to January of this year. What were your plans? What had you seen your business going? What maybe rituals or whatever had you taken on in January time that you've let them fall by the wayside? At the beginning of the year, I was probably more kind of I was showing up more often in the inbox. I was doing a daily email, and I had a little bit of routine going where I would do my email and then I would probably turn it into a video, and then I would maybe turn it into a podcast episode. But as I found, as the year has gone on, I have kind of taken my foot off the pedal, and you find sometimes when you do actually fall out of routine, it's very, very hard to get back into it. I found it hard to, come up with my daily email ideas, or just to kind of, get working again. So that's why I'm trying to put an extra effort into this podcast, trying to push myself to come up with content ideas, because I know it will spill over into my emails, and again, it'll help me with my business. So I want you to think about that. I know we're not near, a lot of people do kind of reflect on their year, maybe a New Year's Eve or whatever. They look back on what they hadn't achieved and what they'd promised themselves they were going to do. And, they will probably look forward into 2021. Like most of us, you probably can't wait for 2020 to be over, to start fresh, to open up the new page on the diary of January 1st and write in your plans and everything. But, sometimes, it does pay just to look back every so often during the year, not just to wait until January time. Maybe have a look between now and the end of this year. What would you like to achieve? What would you, maybe some of the plans that you had put in that you were thinking of doing in January time, maybe it's time to dust some of those off. Maybe it's time to have a look and see if you could do some of those things right now. You might be surprised maybe what you can do between now and the end of the year. It always surprised me when I actually knuckled down to do something like maybe create a video course. The idea may come on a Monday, and I could have the course up and done on a Friday and have it all done, sales letter, everything completed. Whereas, years ago, I would have hemmed and hawed and say, well, I'll do a video now, and then that's not right, and I need to redo it over and over again. And sometimes I had this kind of, time scale in my head that it would probably take a month or two to put a video training course together. Whereas nowadays, I know I could have it up quickly and have it done in a week. So between now and the end of the year, as I said, look back to, where your business was in January time. What plans did you have? Maybe it's time to dust those off. Get them out and see if you can get some of those done between now and the end of the year. So at least, even though the year might end a little bit badly, maybe you mightn't be as far on as you hoped you were going to be. Maybe you might achieve some of those things you had thought you couldn't. But as I said, maybe at the moment you are kind of maybe depressed about everything as it is. Maybe the election in the US might give you light a little bit of a spark, or light a little bit of hope that Trump and everything is gone, and that there is maybe a brighter future, brighter kind of horizon on the future. Maybe that might inspire you to take some action. But have a look at what you were looking to do earlier on the year and see maybe if you can put some of those plans into action, and at least when you go into January of 2021, you'll already be up and running, and you won't have to, you'll be already racing through the starting line. You won't be starting from a start like everybody else. So give that some thought today, and as always, if you'd like to reach out to me, or if you'd like to maybe ask me to cover something in a podcast episode, feel free to reach out to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, or if you'd like to head over to the Rightcome site, if you come over to writecome.com, we have a great free report over there called Words to Wealth, and in it I'm going to show you 10 different ways you can make money from your writing. So as always, this was a bit of a kind of a Sunday morning kind of natter in the car here. It's just raining at the moment, and I just thought I would just kind of do a little bit of a podcast. As I said, I'm trying to do one regularly. I'm trying to show up every day, so I thought I would just fire up the Anchor.fm app today and record an episode. But as I said, have a look back to the year. Is there any way you can end it on a positive? Is there any way you can maybe dust off some of those things? So then, as I said, 2021, everybody is thinking it's going to be the kind of, we're going around the corner and everything is going to be okay. But I'm sure this is going to drag in, the coronavirus is going to drag in. It's going to, put a kind of a stranglehold on everybody's businesses until it's finally free. So maybe you could end this year with something positive. So have a look back at your year. What did you plan to do? What, if you could go back then and you had a time machine and knew what was up ahead, what would you have done differently? So as I said, maybe you can put those actions into place, and hopefully it will have you with a better, stronger business, or a bigger audience, or whatever, in 2021. So as always, I'll let you go now. Have a great day, and thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.